The opening, a prison that was never supposed to make headlines. FCI Oakdale sits in the middle of south-central Louisiana like a mistake someone buried and hoped no one would find. A medium-security federal prison surrounded by tall pines, open fields, and a silence so heavy it feels staged. To most people, the place is ordinary, a cluster of beige buildings behind razor wire, a low hum of generators, and correctional officers driving in half-awake at dawn. Oakdale wasn't built to be famous. It wasn't built for legends or supermax ghosts. It was meant to be normal, predictable, manageable. Yet the truth is simple: prisons like Oakdale are where the real stories live. Not the headline-grabbing terrorists or the cartel bosses who get documentaries, but the men whose crimes fell between the cracks, and whose secrets stay there. This is where our story begins, with a man who was never meant to be noticed, in a prison that was never meant to matter, and with an event that would shake the entire institution from the inside out. Tommy Rourke arrived at Oakdale on a humid May morning, the kind of morning where the air feels like a wet cloth pressed over your face. He looked out of place the moment he stepped off the transport bus, tall, lean, with the posture of someone used to suits and conference rooms, not khakis and steel doors. He wasn't serving time for drugs. He wasn't serving time for violence. He wasn't serving time for fraud. His crime was different. He saw something he shouldn't have. Something about a federal contract, a misfiled invoice, and a number that did not balance. Something that made someone decide he needed to disappear from the world for a while. He wasn't a whistleblower, not officially. He wasn't a danger, not in the way prisons classify danger. He was simply inconvenient. Tommy's paperwork called him minimum threat. The placement officer who reviewed his file recommended a low-security camp. But the decision overrode them. He was transferred to FCI Oakdale, the medium. Tommy knew what that meant long before anyone explained it. Someone wanted him tucked away where oversight was softer and noise didn't travel far. On his first day in general population, Tommy met Maurice later, known as M.O. M.O. was a Louisiana native, mid-40s, with a thick beard and a voice that carried even when he whispered. Everyone in Oakdale seemed to like him. Everybody talked to him. But nobody talked about him, a bad sign in prison. M.O. slid onto the bench across from Tommy in the chow hall. "You're sittin' alone," M.O. said, tapping the table. "That's how you get noticed." Tommy didn't respond immediately. He didn't know the rules yet. "Noticed by who?" he asked. M.O. smirked. "Depends on what you did." Then his eyes narrowed in a way that didn't match his easy smile. "What did you do, anyway?" Tommy gave the official line, financial misconduct, but M.O. didn't buy it. No one did. Tommy didn't have the look of a fraudster or a tax cheat. He had the look of someone who was placed, not sentenced. M.O. clapped him on the shoulder anyway. "Doesn't matter," he said. "Everyone's got a version of the truth. Just keep yours to yourself." But later, someone else approached Tommy, someone who didn't smile at all. In the yard that afternoon, a tall inmate with a shaved head and a slow, deliberate walk stopped Tommy as he passed the track. His name was Deacon, a man who'd been at Oakdale longer than some COs. He didn't introduce himself. He didn't shake hands. He simply said, "You shouldn't be here." Tommy frowned. "I didn't choose, that's not what I mean." Deacon leaned closer. "You weren't put here because of what you did. You were put here because of what you know." Tommy froze. Nobody knew that. Not the inmates. Not the COs. His case file was sealed. The judge even spoke in code. How do you know that?" Tommy asked. Deacon didn't answer at first. He looked around, making sure no staff were listening. Then, quietly, "Some people in here talk to people out there. And people out there want you to stay quiet." He stepped back, eyes cold. "Don't trust the ones who get close fast. That's not friendship. That's placement. Tommy followed his gaze across the yard. Mo was watching him. Smiling. 2 nights later, chaos erupted. Right after lights out, alarms shrieked through the entire compound. COs sprinted past Tommy's cell as distant shouts echoed through the night. Oakdale wasn't known for violent outbreaks, but this one rattled the walls. Minutes later, the unit doors slammed shut. A voice crackled over the intercom. The prisoners in Tommy's range crowded toward their doors, peering through the windows. Someone whispered that a fight broke out in the laundry room. Someone else said it wasn't a fight, it was a targeting. Then Deacon's voice floated from a few cells down, "That's not random. They needed the cameras pointed somewhere else." Tommy didn't sleep that night. Not because of the noise, but because of what he found under his mattress the next morning. A note. Written in thin black marker. "Stop asking questions." No one knew he had been asking anything, not openly. Yet someone had taken the risk to enter his cell area during chaos. Someone wanted him to understand the rules. Someone wanted to scare him. And it worked. But the handwriting, he recognized it. The slanted R. The sharp corners. The odd spacing. He had seen it before, in Mo's commissary request sheet. 3 days into lockdown, Tommy reached his limit. He wasn't built for prison politics. He wasn't built for secrets or coded threats. So when CO Danvers, a quiet, stoic officer with a face like a locked vault, stopped by his cell, Tommy blurted it out. "Officer Danvers, am I in danger here?" Danvers rarely spoke. He was the kind of CO who moved like a shadow and answered only what policy required. But this time, he paused. He looked directly at Tommy. "You need to keep your head down," Danvers said. "You don't belong in a place like this. Someone overrode your placement. That never happens by accident." Tommy's heart pounded. "So I'm right, someone put me here on purpose?" Danvers lowered his voice. "I didn't say that. And I'm not saying more. But listen, if anyone here starts being too helpful too fast, walk away." Tommy's thoughts snapped to Mo. The shoulder claps. The unsolicited advice. The smile that never matched his eyes. Danvers continued, "Whatever you saw on the outside, make sure no one here thinks you kept proof." Then he walked away. Tommy stood frozen, mind racing, pulse roaring in his ears. If Danvers was warning him, then things were much worse than he imagined. The day lockdown lifted, Tommy made a choice, a dangerous one. He approached the library clerk, an older inmate named Baxter who handled legal documents. Baxter was known for 2 things: he could find anything. He never worked for free. Tommy traded 2 commissary books of stamps for a single request: "Find out why I was sent here." Baxter didn't blink. He simply nodded and said, "Give me a day." A day later, Baxter returned with something Tommy didn't expect: an envelope. Inside was a photocopy, grainy, half-redacted, of an internal Bureau of Prisons form. It showed Tommy's original designation, Low Security Federal Prison Camp. Then another signature, bold, dark ink, overriding it. No reason listed. Just a line: security threat indicators flagged. Transfer required. It didn't make sense. Tommy had no gang ties. No violence. No history of misconduct. No connections to anyone dangerous. The override signature was unfamiliar, but Baxter had circled a scribbled initial next to it. A M. Curved, almost playful. Identical to the first letter on Mo's commissary form. Tommy felt the room tilt. Mo wasn't just an inmate. Mo wasn't just friendly. Mo wasn't protection. Mo was placement. Tommy found him in the yard the next morning. "You put me here," Tommy said quietly, standing across from Mo near the basketball court. Mo didn't look surprised. He didn't even look guilty. He sighed and shook his head, almost disappointed. Should have left it alone, he said. Some men don't know how to stay safe. Tommy stepped back. You threatened me. You left the note. Why? Mo's eyes hardened. Because you're asking questions that don't have answers. Not in here. Not out there. Tommy's pulse raced. He realized something terrifying. Mo wasn't angry. Mo wasn't panicked. Mo was calm, too calm, like everything was unfolding exactly as planned. Mo leaned in. Listen, Tommy. You saw something. Something someone didn't want public. They sent you here because Oakdale is quiet. Because no one cares what happens inside a medium in the middle of the woods. He tapped his temple gently. And because long enough in here, men forget. Even what they came in for. Tommy's voice cracked. Who are you working for? Mo smiled, a slow, tired smile. You don't want that answer. Before Tommy could respond, a correctional officer shouted orders. The yard cleared. Mo walked away without looking back. Tommy felt the ground go unsteady beneath him. He wasn't just in the wrong prison. He wasn't just being watched. He was being managed. That night, Tommy returned to his cell shaken, exhausted, and terrified. But what waited for him on his bunk chilled him deeper than anything Mo had said. Another note. This one didn't threaten. It warned. Look up, Contract 47B, start with Oakdale. Finish where you began. Tommy stared at the words. Contract 47B. He hadn't heard that name since the day everything went wrong on the outside. Someone inside the prison knew everything. Someone who wasn't Mo, someone who wanted him to dig deeper. Someone who believed the truth mattered. For the first time since arriving in Oakdale, Tommy realized something. This wasn't just a setup. This was a game. With two sides. And he had no idea which side was trying to save him, or which one wanted him gone.